everyone, Sunita here with a lady called Sandhya today, who I am delighted to be introducing to you. Now, Sandhya and myself, we have a mutual friend called Deepak Singh. I met Deepak many moons ago. I'm trying to think actually, 2006, 2007. I actually went on a spiritual trip to India, and I went to a conference in Rishikesh in one of the big ashrams there, and it was an Ayurveda conference. And I actually met Deepak at that time. He was looking after many of the speakers, and he was helping facilitate the whole conference and making sure that it went smoothly. And our connection was made then, and it's our friendship has blossomed. Every time he comes to England, we hook up. He actually lives in Boston now, in America, and he introduced me and Sandhya, because one day we were talking about the specialities and the significance of Indian dance, and he said, "You must meet Sandhya. She is amazing." So he sent me some of her videos, and I checked them out, and I tell you, this lady it's mesmerizing. She's had an incredible career. We're going to hear more about that. And Sandhya, welcome.
Thank you, Sunita. And I think it's the same conference I met Deepak as well. So I think we were in the same zone.
We were in the same zone. There we go. We carry those memories.
Yes.
We carry those memories. So Sandhya, how did you get into the industry?
So I think from the time I can remember as my memory, I've always been dancing. But the industry, as you say it, like, you know, from the performing arts point of view, I would say I was performing from as a child itself, you know, given as a student from the teacher's point of view. And then it worked for me as artist who's a performer. Also because I was born and brought up in Kuwait. So the war came, and then I had to travel. I had to shift schools. So every time I go into a new zone of my life, as whether it is schooling, whether it is college, dance stood in the forefront of it. I always came with like, oh, she, and then before my name is like the dancer. So I got married, I came to Malaysia, same thing. I went into a school, I auditioned, they picked me up as a performer. I learned new forms. So it's always been like dance has been, if I may say, a key driver in my life. And so the industry was not new to me because I was already attuned to it from childhood itself. So yeah.
So that was your influence. That's your background. That's you know, and it's very natural that we go into industries that we're familiar with. Both my parents were teachers, and you know, a big part of my work is teaching. So you know, we have these natural affinities with our heritage and our backgrounds. But your dance is a particular type of dance. So tell us about that, the intricacies and really how you describe it.
Yeah. So I started off as a Bharatanatyam and Mohiniyattam dancer because my teacher used to teach me that. And in Kerala also, when I was doing my college, when I was doing my graduation, it was much easier to those styles. But I was always fascinated. You know, you have a part of you fascination, like, oh, wow, I would love to learn this form of dance. And, you know, I saw Guru Charan Mohapatra's in Doordarshan, and I was like, so beautiful. If he could portray such beauty of Radha Rani, and so all that just influenced me so strong. And, you know, it's like a deep-rooted desire, which somewhere you brush off like that's never going to happen. And then I get married and I come to Malaysia, and I walk into the school and they have Odissi, and I was like, I want to learn that. And then it was like within a year I was already performing. My teacher was like a pusher. She was fantastic motivation. She was like, you know, she would, if she can't motivate me through good words, then she will motivate me through challenges. So it was very easy to get into a zone there and then just be a part of it. And I loved the form. Every time, even now, when I get to know something new about it, it's really, really fascinating. It's really, really beautiful. And it just makes all sense, you know, like certain things, like I'm sure for you, Ayurveda makes all sense. But, you know, to make sensibility to another person, you have all that passion and love and for me, Odissi has become like that, you know. Why, if you ask, I have no idea, but it just clicked. It's just like, okay, this is what I can understand the most.
Yeah, well, one of the things I mean, it's certainly in Ayurveda, in anything that we're passionate about is, and when we look at it, you know, we both connected because of Deepak. We met Deepak in a spiritual environment. So, you know, one of the things is that we can look at these things as they're very much part of us, you know, energetically. It's so deep rooted, and at some point it's going to have to, it flows out, you know, it's that passion that just flows out of us. And listening to you speak, one of the things, I spent a year in India. So many years ago, in 2002, I was in India and I was working as a journalist, and then I started to train in Ayurveda. And I was in southern India, and I started going to watch the Kathak, is it Kathak dancing?
Kathak,
Charan, Kathak. And I found it actually that dance, particularly this Asian...
Kathak or Kathakali?
Kathakali, I think, yeah.
Kathakali, from Kerala it's Kathakali.
Yeah. It can also be very healing. It has a very powerful effect on our mind, our body, our spirit, our soul. You know, do you feel that with your dance?
Absolutely. Like, I talk to my students in this way. I keep telling them, dance is no different from yoga. It is with your breath, it is with your body, it is with your emotions, all the koshas and, you know, the language that we're familiar with. You can relate absolutely, though in dance form, we have a projection of it. Whereas in yoga, we internalize it, you know. So I said, it's, for me, being a yoga teacher and a dance teacher is something really, really fascinating. Initially, especially when I started off as a teacher there, you know, I used to have back-to-back classes. Like, I used to teach yoga class, and then after that, I used to teach Odissi class. And believe me, I used to have like, oh my God, this is like such a shift. But, you know, as time progressed, and I think as I progressed in my own teaching methodology, I realized that I don't have to see it as a two shift, because one is an inward projection, it's inward looking, but a dancer also has to look inward before you can project out. So earlier when I started off, I used to teach like, okay, a yoga teacher, I was teaching all the techniques like look inward, take your time. And then when I come to the dance teaching class, I'm like, do it now, there's no time, I want the lines now. And I'm like, why do I have to stress them? Yeah. If they won't enjoy it, they won't give that enjoyment to the audience either.
Yes. Yeah.
So now my teaching has completely metamorphosized into something where, you know, only once you have it inward, you can even project it. So you have to go further inward to project so much outward. You know, so
that's fascinating. So really, you know, I think that's a very unique aspect, that you also teach yoga, and so how much of your time, you know, pre-COVID, I should say, how much of your time was spent teaching yoga, taking people inward, and then also dancing and you know, entertaining, I should say, your audience?
Right. So me and my husband is the main yoga teacher. We run a yoga school called Manasa. So even for the conference, we had come where Manoj was teaching in the conference. He was doing a few sessions there. So we started this yoga center in Malaysia. Manoj has always been an avid practitioner of yoga, philosophy, anatomy and everything. And we started the Manasa Yoga Center in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, 21 years back. So I've got all my teachings from him. He dives into the philosophy and he makes it as a practical living possibility, accessibility to those teachings as use. You know, sometimes what happens is we have so much of knowledge at the back of the head, but it just doesn't come when you need it. You really need to hear it from someone else or somewhere. But what he does is he implements the philosophy in the mat practice, so that anytime your mind goes into that mode, you have accessibility to it. And I thought that was very, very important. Especially I was practicing it, and that is important even in dance, because when you're doing bhavas, or when you want to invoke a rasa in your audience, your accessibility to all those switches or all those gears should be very quick. And because we have the limitation of probably not having a live orchestra, or we have a preset music, those trigger points or those switches have to be very, very immediate access to you. And then also you should know how to switch it off, like a drama actor or an artist. So these points were very important, and I didn't want it like, because we have the limitation of time, we are going to show only so much. I wanted the full intensity. It's like all lights out there, full projection, and I'm there with you. And then if I have to withdraw, then I withdraw from you. So I wanted all that. And when you dive in with teachings and with experiences, I think that's a bit more stronger, you know. So
well, there's many layers. I mean, there's many layers to peel, isn't there? There's many layers to the physical, the experience that you then, you're sharing, and you're sharing so much, part of yourself. So it's, I see it in the eyes, and your skin, and your smile, and the whole body language, just lights up.
Pre-COVID time would be like 21 years, and post-COVID, I have no idea when it's going to come on the stage, but always within.
Well, what do you feel? Because, yes, your industry has been greatly impacted. So what are your feelings at the moment? What are the kind of conversations you're having?
Well, the thing is, everybody is concerned, and there is no, decisive answers to say that, okay, this month we can start back, or we can start working on it. Of course, we are still excited, like, let's do new projects. But everybody is so uncertain, like, okay, maybe we should just work on social media, or maybe we should just work on virtual platforms. And then again, there is a little bit of a diverse opinions there, where a lot of dancers don't do on virtual platform because it's kind of like, I don't know, there's different ways of looking at it. But I think at the current time, the good parts is that we're sharing a lot, or those who are forthcoming and those who are sharing on the virtual platform, a lot of sharing is being happening. And that way you get to know the essence of the dancer as well, which I think is absolutely beautiful, because, social media kind of covers a little bit of the imagery part, because you really don't get to interact or have a direct access or get to know this person in person. You know what I mean? Like, you are asking me a question from UK. I have a more direct accessibility to you to answer your questions. And that way, possibly those questions that are there in the minds of many other viewers are answered. So that way, I feel like the reachability to a dancer on a personal note is much more now than pre-COVID times. And how we kind of value the dance art form, and how we place it in our lives, and how much of implementation we are doing. I think all those sincere notes are coming out, rather than just saying I practice like 10 hours, or, I do everything for my life for dance. It's just statements, but here we are getting a chance to kind of really be us.
So it's more, there's this, it's more transformative, it's more, it's bringing
transformation. A little bit of transparency is coming into the platform, a little bit of transparency. Like, I like this dancer, I want to know a little bit more about her. Okay, so I'm getting a chance to know that because she can't perform, but she's coming on social media or some virtual platform where I get to hear her thoughts out.
That's really interesting, because the same thing's been happening in wellness, in my area. So, because of this, it was like we were given permission to get, to do lives on Instagram every day and start to, whereas, pre-COVID, everything had to be planned and really strategic, and, you didn't get up and just do that. And so those boundaries have come down now, and thank goodness they have, because at the end of the day, it's people get that experience then, and they get to connect with you. So it's a good thing. And so Sandhya, what would you say what would you advise to young people, or anyone who is maybe thinking about venturing into your world?
I think they've got to really think out of the box, because this is definitely a transformative time where we had not planned for this. All our plans, all our agendas, all our, list of what I want to do, or where we should get, is completely based on years of what has been set for us as examples, but now we are entering a new zone where we don't know if COVID-19 has happened, something else also can happen. So we need to start taking our art form and make it in such a way that it is available to a lot of people without losing its etiquette and ethnicity and its essence, but putting it out in ways possible. I mean, I always have this tendency to kind of come to par with films and cinemas, because I believe that dancers and the stage artists were the industry before the silver screen came up. But if we have lost it to the silver screen, and the question is like, why would people want to go and see something on silver screen and not come and see the actual artist live perform? We lost that touch somewhere. Like, I would love to see someone come and organically act in front of me, but my money is on what is being thrown on a silver screen, which has a lot of time for editing, a lot of time. It's not immediate. You have so much time to do everything. You have so much of, but again, it's not an easy job. Of course, it's a Herculean task and there's a lot of technicians involved, but they have evolved beautifully. The evolution of a cinema industry compared to our industry is uncomparable. So I think the current generation or the youngsters who are taking up classical dance form should start thinking in terms of adding that as the attributes. Like my generation would have thought, I need more thalam classes, I need more rhythm classes, I need to learn the music. They have to learn that and the technology and what they can do and what they can bring about, so that we still maintain the content of the art authentic, but we're able to reach out with more.
Yeah, that's interesting, because actually one of my sisters, she's a TV producer, and so she would say a similar thing actually, when so she, like yourself, in the industry for 20 years, and the focus was very much on evolving the specific skills to do that job. And now, she says you need to actually be multitasking. You need to be able to hold the camera as well. You need to be able to film. You need to be able to do some script writing. So it looks like that's also happening in other related industries, I should say.
Yeah,
related.
I think we were, since we're talking about pre-COVID and post-COVID, I think pre-COVID, we had the luxury of I don't need to know how I look on the camera because I'm a stage artist. I don't need to know where I need to place a light, because I have a light technician. But right now, we're all within the squares of our house, and we need to know where to place a light, and we need to know how to place a camera, because that's the only way we can come out and speak. And there's very limited, social distancing has become is this for life? So it's a learning curve, but I think everybody is putting an effort. But whether we are looking at it at a long-term plan, I don't know. So I think youngsters would have to see this as this kind of crisis is possible again.
Yes.
And we don't have to say, oh, we'll go back to the old ways and then we'll pick it up when the time comes. I think it's a good time to kind of reform and change and make the force together, so that it's not just one platform we have, which is we have to be called by a stage performing artist. We have another platform as well. It's so many things are possible.
And I just wanted to ask as well, so is there, the career that you've had, is there anything that you would change? Is there anything you would have done differently?
So far, I have 3 careers going parallelly. So I think I always, as a child, I always wanted to be a dancer. And no matter what obstacle has come, in difficulties of handling a situation, emotional, physical, I still keep going at it. So that way, with the hard work and wherever I am, not to say that I'm at the peak or anything, but still, I'm working at it. So I like the working part. As we say, journey matters the most. I really enjoy the whole journey of it. And being a yoga teacher, I think it just added the the value of what I'm receiving to be given in a more fruitful way, because I just feel like dance should not be kept as, oh, I want to teach my daughter dance because I want her to be graceful, or she should. No, she would learn dance and she would be equally like a yoga practitioner who knows what is value, what is awareness, what is to say at what point in time. And, you know, all those things you can add value. So I really now enjoy teaching my dance class because this is how I started teaching.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's not about making 10 people great dancers. I want all 10 of them to dance through life with ease, poise, and grace. So,
Okay.
so yeah.
Thank you. We are delighted. We're going to show some of your dancing after the conversation. And for those that would like to know more about you and maybe watch some of your full dance procedures, where should they go? Is there a website? Is there a YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel. The website is still work in progress. But the YouTube channel has a few videos, you know, because we still have our fears of like the music can be stolen or taken or those kind of things. But there are a few videos, and I will send you some so that you can showcase a bit. Of course, anytime anybody wants to see the performances, they can DM me, and you know, I could showcase them some videos that I've done in the past.
Sandhya, thank you so much. Thank you
so much, Sunita. It was really nice to talk to you, and someday we should catch up on Ayurveda.
Oh yes, definitely. We'll do the reverse. Yes, you can interview me on Ayurveda, and also I'd be delighted to hear more about, because I remember now that you've said your husband's name, Manoj, I remember him from the conference, and I'm sure I went to some of his classes as well. So that's great. Well, thank you.
पाद पंकज स्मरम्यहं महेश्वरं नरिगिड गिड तक नरिगिड गिड तक नादौ दबिर दीग दिगंबर शंकर रूप भया दिग दिग केश दंडव त्रिशूल धर ताजे को तेजे को जन जन ताग ते जनता तक धैक तक धैक तक किड तक थे दित दित थे तातु दित्ता तदित्ता दित्ता किण दित्ता किण दित्ता किड तक